The Forbidden Mystery of Enoch. Why was this book left out of the Holy Scripture? The Book of Enoch, a work that for a long time remained hidden, is one of the most intriguing pieces of apocryphal literature. Originally written in Hebrew or Aramaic, this book contains passages that, over the centuries, have been considered incongruent with church dogmas, which is why it was excluded from the biblical canon. However, the wealth of information it carries, particularly references to celestial beings and their possible connections to extraterrestrial entities, makes it a fascinating and controversial read. Hello and welcome to Gaia's Ascension channel. Today, I bring you some interesting notes about the mysteries surrounding the Book of Enoch. In fact, in the last video on the channel, we mentioned Enoch and decided to provide more information about this book that was left out of the great sacred book, the Book of Enoch, the man who was taken to the heavens while still alive. Enoch in the Bible and the enigma of his rapture. Enoch is a mysterious figure in the scriptures. He is mentioned in Genesis chapter 5, verses 21 to 24, where it is said that at 65 years old he had a son named Methuselah. After Methuselah's birth, Enoch walked with God for 300 years and then was taken by God, being spared from physical death. The term taken, Genesis chapter 5 verse 24, has been interpreted by many as a reference to the rapture, suggesting that Enoch was taken to heaven body and soul. This episode echoes the fate of the prophet Elijah, who was taken to heaven by a chariot of fire, as described in 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 11. For some scholars and theorists, these descriptions could be interpreted as ancient accounts of contact with extraterrestrials, where chariot of fire could be a spacecraft. Nowadays, it is rare for churches to still refer to the teachings of the Book of Enoch. Among them, the Ethiopian Jewish community stands out, which has always recognized the book as authentic. Another exception is the Abyssinian Baptist Church, curiously originating from Ethiopia but linked to Christianity. As mentioned, Enoch, a figure shrouded in mystery in the Bible, is mentioned only a few times, in intriguing passages like Genesis chapter 5, verses 21 to 24, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 15, and Jude chapter 1, verses 14 to 15. These few verses spark an irresistible curiosity about his true story. Enoch's visions and journeys. In the Book of Enoch, he recounts a series of visions and journeys to the heavens, where he is shown different levels of the firmament. In chapters 17 to 36, Enoch describes his journey through 7 different worlds, where he encounters winged creatures, some with crocodile heads and lion's feet. In one of these worlds, Enoch is brought into the presence of the Creator, who reveals to him the secrets of the creation of the universe. This narrative is often interpreted as a possible extraterrestrial abduction, in which Enoch may have been taken to different planets or dimensions. The description of beings with hybrid features may suggest an advanced civilization with technology beyond our comprehension. After the birth of his son Methuselah at 65 years old, Enoch chose to dedicate his life to spreading the word of God, always walking beside him. Enoch lived long before Christ, and the Bible tells us that at 365 years old, he was taken by God. But what exactly does it mean to be taken by God? Let me explain. Enoch was actually raptured. The Bible teaches us that in the rapture, both body and soul ascend to heaven, and not just the soul. This idea is clearly expressed in Genesis chapter 5, verse 24. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. There are no historical records mentioning Enoch's body being found or buried. According to Bible scholars, he was taken by God in the same manner, for the same reasons as the prophet Elijah. As described in 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 11, he was taken up to heaven by a chariot of fire and flaming horses in a whirlwind. When we realize that both were taken in a similar manner, it becomes easy for ufologists, scientists open to new discoveries, and even some broader-minded Christians to associate the Chariot of Fire with a possible extraterrestrial spacecraft. Indeed, numerous works of sacred art, especially paintings depicting biblical scenes, seem to suggest representations that go beyond conventional imagination. These representations reveal realities that few dare to publicly question, especially in the face of the masses and the Vatican. They are subtle details that often go unnoticed, but for those more attuned to humanity's mysteries, point to an intriguing explanation. We are seeing representations of extraterrestrial spacecraft. A notable example can be seen in the chapel of the Visoki Dekani Monastery in Kosovo. Painting of unknown authorship depicts the crucifixion of Jesus and was created in 1350. What stands out are two strange flying objects, one on each side of the panel, appearing to cross the sky. Without stretching the imagination, one can clearly see figures seated inside these objects, as if they were pilots manipulating navigation. This detail was ignored for centuries until a young Yugoslav art student noticed it in 1962. As I mentioned, sometimes it's necessary to have an open mind and soul to catch these details. Ambiguity is a prominent feature in ancient writings, which makes disambiguation, the process of clarifying a message with multiple meanings, challenge. This is due to the translation of texts into various languages, where translators often resort to more conventional terms to meet the demands of the church or facilitate the understanding of ordinary people. However, there is a passage in Enoch's own words that states, "I received a visit from two men of great wisdom, such as I had never seen on earth. Their faces shone like the sun, their eyes were like burning lamps, and fire emanated from their lips. Their clothes resembled feathers, their feet were purple, and their eyes shone brighter than snow. They called me by name." Soviet scientists from the Russian Academy of Sciences, RAS, argue that this could indeed be an account of an extraterrestrial encounter. Enoch also states in another passage that the journey seemed to last only a few days, but upon returning to Earth, centuries had passed. Perhaps here lies the explanation for the remarkable longevity attributed to Enoch. The mysteries of the Nephilim and fallen angels, hidden revelations and challenging theories. The Book of Enoch, one of the most enigmatic texts of antiquity, addresses a fascinating and controversial story about the Nephilim, giants who, according to the book, were generated by the union of the sons of God with the daughters of men. This narrative, also mentioned in the Bible in Genesis 6 verses 1 to 4, describes how the Watchers, fallen angels who descended to earth, took human wives and gave rise to a race of giants, the Nephilim. These colossal beings, unable to be contained, soon brought chaos and destruction to the world. But who were these fallen angels really? Divine beings with radiant wings, or visitors from another world, traveling in chariots of fire? Traditional interpretation suggests the former, but when we observe translations and symbolisms with a more critical and open mind, a new perspective emerges. Could these angels actually be extraterrestrial beings? The very figure of God, as presented in the Book of Enoch, departs from the conventional view of the Creator and approaches that of a leader of an alien species. This interpretation gains strength when we consider Enoch's prophecy about the end of the giants and most of humanity, recorded in the book of Jude chapter 1, verses 14 to 15. Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied about them. "See, the Lord is coming with thousands upon thousands of his holy ones, to judge everyone, and to convict all the ungodly of all the ungodly acts they have done in the ungodly way." This prediction seems to align with the Great Flood, a divine response to the atrocities committed by a corrupt humanity. Yet some suggest that the flood could have been a consequence of the use of a powerful alien weapon. The story of the Nephilim not only challenges traditional theological notions, but also provokes reflection on the possibility of extraterrestrial interventions in antiquity. What was once seen as a religious metaphor now takes on new contours when examined through the lens of ufology and modern theory. The ambiguity present in ancient texts, often amplified by multiple translations and interpretations over the centuries, opens doors to previously unimaginable theory. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that terms like chariot of fire and angels could be understood as primitive representations of extraterrestrial technology. In contrast, religious translations and interpretations attempt to adapt these descriptions to the theological understanding of the time. However, what makes us question is the persistence of these stories across various cultures around the world, suggesting an underlying truth that transcends time and geography. Delving into the pages of the Book of Enoch and other apocryphal texts, we see that challenging traditional theology is inevitable. The book was excluded from the canon by the Catholic Church and other Christian traditions, not only for its theological contradictions, but also for its boldness in suggesting the existence of life forms and levels of existence that destabilize the traditional view of the universe. This confrontation of ideas not only challenges our understanding of the past, but also makes us reflect on what we believe to be true. As new discoveries and interpretations emerge, the line between myth and reality becomes increasingly thin. Were the Nephilim and the fallen angels merely characters in a religious narrative, or indications of something much deeper and unknown? In any case, what is clear is that the story of the Nephilim and the fallen angels transcends simple religious doctrine, opening a vast field for exploring possibilities that may forever change our perception of the origin of humanity and the universe. The Book of Enoch, a millennial enigma unveiled. The Book of Enoch is one of the most enigmatic and controversial works in human history. Literally hidden for millennia, this ancient text was rediscovered in 1947 near the Dead Sea, becoming part of the famous Dead Sea Scrolls collection. Its reemergence has raised profound questions that challenge both science and religion, and since then, continues to intrigue scholars, curious minds, and spiritualists. But why was this book hidden for so long? What does it really reveal about the mysteries surrounding our existence? For many, the Book of Enoch was not just a historical record. It was a source of knowledge ahead of its time, possibly revealing the intervention of beings from other worlds in human history. The mystery of authorship, Enoch or someone else. One of the great enigmas surrounding the Book of Enoch is the question of its authorship. Many scholars believe that Enoch, the mysterious biblical figure who walked with God and was raptured, did not write the book. Instead, they suggest that the text might be a pseudepigraphic work, that is, written by someone else, long after Enoch's time, but attributed to him to gain credibility and impact. This hypothesis raises even more questions. If Enoch was not the author, who could this person be? What would have been their true intention in writing these pages under the name of Enoch? And more importantly, what does this tell us about the message the book carries? An invitation to debate and reflection. Now, the big question is, how do you, dear viewer, position yourself in the face of this mystery? Do you lean more towards a conservative view, seeking to maintain established traditions and doctrines? Or are you always open to new discoveries and learning, whether scientific or spiritual? Our goal here is to create space for reflection and promote a healthy and respectful debate. We want to hear what you truly think about the Apocrypha, and in particular, about the Book of Enoch. Every opinion matters, and together, these voices form a mosaic of ideas that help us unravel the hidden mysteries of our past. Leave your comments below and participate in this discussion. Remember that, despite differing opinions, we respect each person's learning journey. As the teaching goes, love one another. The love is above all to respect, even when thoughts diverge. Continue with us on this journey of discovery. This is just the beginning. There is much more to explore, and we want to do this together with you. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with your friends and family. Let's continue uncovering more and more mysteries, always together, in search of answers to the questions that remain hidden in the shadows of time. Your participation is essential to maintain the space for exchange and learning. With respect and harmony, we can go further and discover the truths behind ancient texts and their messages to humanity. Join us on this journey.